According to the Church, the Gospels are a rich tapestry of history, theology, and storytelling. The Gospels are the first four books of the New Testament: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The word gospel comes from the Greek evangelion, meaning good news, referring to the message of Jesus Christ's life, death, and resurrection. For the empire, it was a secular term with significant political and military connotations, frequently used to announce major imperial events. Each gospel offers a distinct portrait of Jesus. Matthew, Jesus as the Jewish Messiah, fulfilling prophecy. Mark, a fast-paced account emphasizing Jesus' suffering and servanthood. Luke, a universal savior with compassion for outsiders. John, a theological reflection on Jesus as the divine word. When were they written and by whom? Mark, likely written first around AD 60 to 70, based on Peter's teachings. Matthew, written AD 70 to 80, attributed to the Apostle Matthew. Luke, written AD 80 to 90 by Luke, a companion of Paul. John, written AD 90 to 100, traditionally attributed to the Apostle John. These dates are debated, but most scholars agree they were composed within the 1st century, not long after Jesus' death. When were they named? The titles Gospel according to Matthew, etc., were not part of the original manuscripts. They were likely added in the late 2nd century, as the text circulated in communities sought to identify their sources. Church fathers like Irenaeus, c. 180 AD, affirmed the fourfold gospel tradition, arguing there could be no more or fewer than four. How did they become canonical? In the early centuries, many gospels circulated, including ones attributed to Thomas, Mary, and others. The four canonical gospels were chosen because they had apostolic origins or close ties to apostles, were widely accepted across Christian communities, aligned with Orthodox teaching, and were used in worship. The process was gradual and organic, not decided by a single council. By the late 2nd century, the four were widely recognized. Church leaders like Irenaeus and Origen defended their authenticity. The final canon was solidified by the 4th century, with councils like Hippo, 393 AD, and Carthage, 397 AD, affirming the 27-book New Testament. Most scholars agree the canonical Gospels were originally anonymous, and the selection of four was shaped by theological, political, and practical concerns rather than pure historical accuracy. Authorship, anonymous origins. Modern scholarship widely agrees that the Gospels were formally anonymous. The original manuscripts did not include author names. Titles like the Gospel according to Matthew were added later, likely in the late 2nd century, to lend apostolic authority. The traditional attributions, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, reflect early church tradition, not first-hand claims by the authors themselves. Stylistic and theological differences suggest the Gospels were written by educated Greek-speaking Christians, not Galilean fishermen or eyewitnesses. Selection of four. Why these? In the first few centuries, dozens of Gospels circulated, including the Gospel of Thomas, Gospel of Mary, Gospel of Judas, and others. The four canonical Gospels were chosen because they aligned with emerging orthodoxy, were widely used in liturgy and teaching, could be linked, even tenuously, to apostolic figures. Church leaders like Irenaeus, c. 180 AD, argue there must be exactly four, symbolically tied to the four corners of the earth or four living creatures in Revelation. Other Gospels were excluded for being too late, written after the 2nd century, theologically divergent, Gnostic, Docetic, or mystical, politically inconvenient, challenging church hierarchy or doctrine, church tradition versus scholarly perspective. Authorship. The Church believes that the apostles wrote them. Scholars think that they were anonymous authors, and their names were later attributed. Canon. The Church believes that they were a divinely guided selection. Scholars think a gradual, contested process shaped by power and theology. Number. The Church believes that they are four by divine design. Scholars think that many existed, and only four were institutionalized. Scholars think that they could be historically valuable, but they are literary works shaped by context and agenda.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.